Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of our I've Decided podcast. I'm Kim Martin, founder of I've Decided and host of your show today. So, the question of the week is what determines your success? What actually determines your success? And I am going to be talking to my guest, Mr. Sam Miller. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Kim.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be with you and so excited to have this conversation. Hopefully share some good stuff with our listeners.
I think it's going to be amazing, and you're going to find out why. Because your choice, not circumstances, determine your success. Choice, not circumstances, determine your success. Isn't that
Absolutely
a great quote?
Right.
Yes.
Sure is.
So let me tell you just a little bit about Sam. We met not long ago, right? Maybe
That's
just
right.
a couple of months ago. We had a great conversation. I had the pleasure of meeting Sam and his beautiful wife, Kayla, who has been on the show already. So you guys might remember Kayla Miller. She's has a jewelry design company.
Yep, my jewelry genius of KM Jewelry Design.
There you go. Nice plug for Kayla.
That's
there,
right.
as it should be. Good husband. And so Sam has an amazing story, and he's just a perfect fit for the word choice. He has an organization called Dreaming Made Simple, and you guys know how I feel about dreams. I think we all have that dream in our heart that we're put here to achieve. And, that's what it's all about, going after your goals, living with a purpose, fulfilling the dream. And, you have some special abilities that you're going to share with us today. And you had some choices in your life, Sam, that you could make, right?
That's right.
And so just give us a little bit about your history and why you founded Dreaming Made Simple. We're going to talk a little bit about your book and about you speaking at our conference, which we're excited about.
Yeah. Well, I was born with cerebral palsy, and what's interesting is for all my life, I've felt caught in the middle because I'm not, let's say, profoundly disabled. I'm not there's a lot of stuff that I can do, but there's a lot of stuff that I can't do. And so it's like, wow, again, what's my choice? Am I going to focus on my strengths and what's possible, or what's maybe not possible? Because there's always the possible and the impossible.
Right.
And I think for me, I have a background in sports media, and I realized that I love sports and I love media, but you know what? There's always somebody better than you. There's always somebody more interested, more knowledgeable. And so I realized after a while, after 12 years in sports media, that while I love communications, I realized that my purpose was bigger than that. And for those interested in sports and media, awesome. For those gifted at it, go for it. But for me, I realized that I was seeing through a microscope when my lens was meant to be a telescope. And one of my mentors, it's a common saying, he says, out of your mess comes your message. There's probably any number of people that say that. But they said, out of your mess comes your message. And that's really what reverberated in me after a while, because I realized that, hey, you know what? There can be redemption to my story. There can be redemption to all the pain and the obstacles of having cerebral palsy.
That is awesome. It's just so amazing to me that your story sounds so similar to our buddy Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt White is one of our success partners.
Yeah, I love Kurt.
Yeah, you've met Kurt. And he shares the same, almost identical story. He was in finance. He worked in banking, had a great career, 25-year career, but he knew he had a purpose for his story.
That's right.
And that his life was meant to, he was an encourager. He had a story to share with some special abilities that he was born with.
Yeah.
And he wanted to help people. And so I think it's so true. Out of your mess becomes your message, or your story. Your life is your testimony, so to speak. And we all have some kind of mess.
That's right.
I mean, every single one of us do. And but we can use it for the good. We can use the things that we were dealt with for the good. We can have a choice. We can use it for the good, or we can just wallow in our circumstances and live you know under where we should, so to
Right.
speak, right? Less than what we should, because
Yeah.
we're worried and focused on the things we can't do versus what we can.
Right.
It's a choice, like you said. You choose to focus on your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And so you founded Dreaming Made Simple.
Right.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that and what you're doing with that right now.
Yeah, Dreaming Made Simple offers coaching, training, speaking, and workshops to youth and families affected by disabilities and organizations that serve those youth and families. Like I said, my heartbeat is, matter of fact, I just came out with the book that Kim mentioned, I'm Possible. And in it are life lessons on thriving with a disability. So my heartbeat, my goal in having these workshops is to walk participants through what it could look like to live a more meaningful life. Everybody needs a guide. That's why we're tuning in and listening to Kim, is because everybody needs a guide to help them move forward, and everybody needs a mission, a purpose, a group to serve. And who better to serve than those so close to your heart and so close to your reality, and in my case, those with disabilities.
Right. And one of the pieces of the puzzle for success is inspiration.
That's right.
We all need inspiration, and there is no better inspiration than a success story. And I love that, Sam, when you are teaching, especially young teens or younger people that have a disability, they can see your success. Mm-hmm. So they can be inspired,
right,
and say, if Sam can do it, I can do it.
Well, and I think what Kim was saying earlier, like, each one of us has a mess. Each one of us has a situation that's possible to be redeemed. And so for me, with disabilities, I'm able to speak to my situation, my circumstances that I'm familiar with authority and with confidence and conviction that somebody else who is more physically capable, let's say, maybe can't speak as directly or as personally to.
Yeah, that's amazing. Was there a defining moment in your life when you decided that you were going to focus on the things that you could do? Or give me a little bit about that. He's like, at what point did you make a choice? Was there a moment where you said, you know what? Okay, this is not going to define me?
Absolutely. Obviously, my life hasn't turned out like Michael Jordan, but similar to Michael Jordan.
You're not quite as tall as Michael Jordan.
Yeah, for one thing. Similar to Michael Jordan got cut from his school basketball team. Well, for me, that's when it was a defining moment for me, when I got cut from, or when I didn't even have a chance at my junior high school basketball team. I said to myself, well, I love sports, and I can't think of not being around what I love. So how can I find a way to be around what I love? And that's what really started me down the path of speaking and coaching and training, ultimately to where I am today.
Yeah. So you made it. You could have went home, cried, right, said, I'm a loser. I can't do anything I really want to do. So forget it all. Right. But instead you were like, okay, this isn't a path for me, obviously, but what is that can keep me close to the sports that I love?
I just can't help but, this is kind of bursting out of me, so I just can't help but share this. One of the thoughts that I often share when I'm teaching workshops to people like me is, I say, you know what, you're a gold mine. Each one of you has gold inside of you, and it's a coach, as you know, Kim, that draws that out and brings that to the surface. And like, each one of our gold is going to look different to, every expression is going to look different. That's the way it was intended to be.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I love that. It's like you're chipping away, right? You're just digging out that gold and looking for that gold.
Yeah,
that's a great analogy. super great analogy. Well, I'm excited that you're going to be speaking at our fall seminar on Thursday, the 22nd. It's going to be virtual, so you can join and watch from anywhere. And I just want to plug your book again because I'm Possible, your book, and in here you talk about lessons on thriving with a disability. And so we're going to be excited to give anyone who registers for that workshop or seminar a copy of your book.
Yep. And if you don't want to wait till September to get a book, go to my website, dreamingmadesimple.com. I'd be happy to sign a personalized copy to you or to a loved one. What I love about the book, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but there's 45 lessons, and I almost thought of subtitling it bite-sized lessons, because that's really what it is you can sit down and you can spend 5 minutes with the lesson, or you can spend 5 hours and really think about how you want to transform and take steps toward changing your life.
Yeah. So I haven't read it yet. It is on my list.
I'm sure you have plenty of books.
I just finished a book, and that's why I had this actually with me, because it is on my next list to read. Obviously, I'm going to read it, and especially before the seminar coming up in September. But I can't wait. I can't wait to read it and get those bite-sized chunks of lessons on thriving with a disability. And I want to say this, and I've learned this from Kurt too, is that, again, we all have a disability.
Right.
Some of us, you can physically see it, right? Yeah. Some of us, you can't. But a disability is it's just something that can keep you from hold you back a little bit, right? Or appear to hold you back. And we all have that if we allow it.
Right.
And so this will be a good book I know I'm going to enjoy reading it. It'll be a good book for anyone to read, not just someone. I think we can all apply the message.
Absolutely.
To our lives. And it makes perfect sense. One of the things I talk about every week, we send out a weekly winning resource to our members. And it's geared around the word. And of course, this week it's choice. And so in that article, or in the resource that I sent out to our members, I talk about, why is it so hard to make the right choice? Why we're faced with a choice to make. And it's so easy to, like, I used an alarm clock for an example, right? We know that we need to get up. We want to get up on time because we want to maybe get an exercise in, or pray, or just not be rushed.
Yeah.
Have time to have a cup of coffee before you're rushing out the door, whatever it might be. And so I use that simple analogy of that alarm clock, making that choice. Do I get up as soon as the alarm clock goes, or do I sit and hit that snooze button?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just sit and hit the snooze button. I know we all are guilty of that, right?
That's for sure.
It's so easy. So, why and how can we ensure to make the best decisions for ourselves? And
yeah, Kim, I think that's a great question. What immediately comes to my mind, and something that I've had to cultivate, because choice is a muscle, right?
Right.
I think that's important.
It's a mental muscle.
That's an important concept, is that choice is a muscle. And so what I realized somewhere along the line in the last several years is I heard a phrase: the more no's you actually say no to. You say no to, staying up watching Netflix, say no to doing this, that the more you say no, the more powerful, focused, and concentrated your yes can be.
Oh gosh, that is so true. I love that so much. And it kind of reminds me, we talked about in the article 5 questions that you can ask yourself before making a choice. So it's like doing that due diligence, right? It's like don't act hastily. Take that time to really process what you're about to do and making sure. And one of the questions is it an opportunity,
right,
or a distraction?
Yeah.
And I talk about an opportunity is something that's going to move you closer to your goal. And a distraction is something that appears to be good, and it is good.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense right now. It's not really going to fit for what you need.
Exactly. I think my wife and I were talking about that very idea earlier today when we read through the weekly word. And it's like, to me, what stands out is a distraction is oftentimes a short-term choice. It's like, oh, what feels good right now?
Yes.
I'm going to have that. Maybe I'm at Curve, so that's why I'm thinking of food and whatever. But I can have that Blizzard right now, or I can save my calories, so to speak, and have that steak or have something that's going to stick with me and be even more satisfying. So again, I think a lot of times distractions are short-term and opportunities are long-term, and they might take longer to pay off.
Right. But it's human nature. We want what we want right now.
Right.
Instant gratification. We want that instant gratification. And I love to make sure everybody understands, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. It's really how we were designed. Our mind, our brain, its job is to keep us alive and keep us comfortable.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And so it will work against you when you're trying to do something new, difficult, like you were talking about diet. So like changing your diet, that's going to be something different and hard outside of your comfort zone. So your brain's going to actually go, no, we like the Blizzard.
Yeah.
The Blizzard makes you feel great, have the Blizzard, when ultimately that's not the best choice. And so you have to kind of fight against that. So that's why it's very hard.
Well, and I've realized oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes the more resistance you have to choice, the more the payoff's going to be once you make that choice.
Mm-hmm. It's like discipline, right? It's like discipline at the time is very painful.
That's right.
But it reaps a reward.
Absolutely.
And it brings a peace of mind. Mm-hmm. It's like what you do today will determine your tomorrow.
Yeah.
So what you opt to do today will determine your tomorrow. Wow. And we can't get away from that. It's just, that's how it's going to be. Sure. So you really have to, think that through. And I think the more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes. It's never easy, but discipline begets discipline, mm-hmm. right? So when you practice that discipline and you don't jump into something and make a choice that's not the right choice because you're taking care of an instant gratification, that you're struggling to have the discipline, you're never going to regret that. When you make the harder choice, you're never going to regret it. Never have I woke up the next day and said, man, I should have ate that ice cream last night.
Unless it's all gone.
Right? Yeah, I mean, right. I'm almost always wake up the next day going, oh, I'm so glad that I practiced discipline and I didn't eat that ice cream last night. I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah. Well, isn't it amazing, just continuing this food analogy, isn't it amazing that maybe you have that thought on Monday and then on Saturday you're invited to a party or some function and they have this amazing, offering, and then you can have that because of the choices that you've made up to that point.
Yes. Yep. And just focusing on the here and the right now.
That's right.
And trying not to let your mind wander too far out. Yeah. Sometimes we make choices because of what we think we're going to choose to do next week.
That's right.
Right? I'm on vacation next week. I might as well do this today.
Yeah.
Well, vacation's not till next week. Do what you're supposed to do today.
That's right. Yeah, I love on my wife Kayla made me a beautiful inspiration wall full of quotes. It's gorgeous in my office, and the first quote to go on there was from the legendary basketball coach John Wooden, and he says, "Make each day your masterpiece."
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, make each day. So focus right here, right now. Make the choice today. Don't think about tomorrow. What's the right choice right now, today? And, it's usually the right choice is usually the harder choice.
That's for sure.
Almost always. I don't know why that is, but, and one final thought, so success really is about making the right choice based on where you are right now, what's most important right now, but we're not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
You're going to make the wrong choice sometimes.
Absolutely.
You're going to eat the ice cream sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to give in to a temptation. Maybe you find yourself in a weak situation for whatever reason.
Right.
And when that happens, we have to forgive ourselves. We got to let it go. You know,
Absolutely.
we can't change it. We can only change moving forward.
Yeah.
So how do you, when you find yourself feeling over worried or stressed or like down on yourself, maybe there's something you really wanted, I think in your lifetime, I'm sure there's been plenty
Yeah.
of things that you've really wanted to do, but physically you couldn't.
Right.
How did you get yourself, what was your kind of methodology?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I can't help but think of my dad, who would say, kind of like what you've already said, but he would say when I told him, Dad, I had a rough day today, or things didn't go my way, he's like, well, hit the delete button. He'd say, hit the delete button, and basically start fresh tomorrow. And there are, I think we all have our healthy go-tos to get us back in that frame of mind, whether it's picking up the phone, talking to a friend, or I like to listen to jazz or watch a basketball game, and just realize that life goes on, and it's my choice. It's okay to take, to use a sports phrase, it's okay to take a TO. It's okay to take a timeout and just kind of recenter, and then choose when you want to re-engage.
Yeah, it is. It's totally okay. Feeling down, feeling sad, feeling blue, all of those are emotions that are normal.
Yeah.
And when we get knocked down, when something doesn't go our way, it's normal to be sad. It's normal to feel upset or even angry. Right. Anger is not a bad emotion. We just have to recognize it for what it is. It is an emotion being caused by something.
Right. Yeah.
And so taking that time, I love that. Take a TO. I'm gonna start using that one. I like that one, Sam. Take a TO. I'm gonna tell myself that. You need a TO. Because it's true. When we start to feel overwhelmed, sometimes we just need to take that time, take a step back, and just kind of reanalyze the situation and start to reframe our mind and focus on the good and get our mind out of that gutter, so to speak.
Right. Well, and I think one more thing that comes to mind is we often tell each other, whether it's my wife and myself, or people that I'm close to, like, think about how far you've come. That yes, you may have missed it today, you may have missed it in that conversation or whatever, but a year ago you might not even shown up to that event, or a year ago it would have been totally different. So give yourself more credit. I think most of us that are going after success and personal development, we do not give ourselves enough credit.
I agree with that 100%. We don't recognize the hard work, where we've come,
right,
how far we've come, right?
Right.
And so that's great. I love that, Sam. I am so excited to hear your presentation at our fall seminar, and excited to read your book. And I will be excited to buy everybody a book who signs up for the fall seminar. And if you're not going to be able to make it, you can always go to Sam's website. But also remember, Sam could come and speak to your group too.
Yeah.
And so definitely want to put that out there. If you're looking for a great speaker or someone to teach some workshops. And I think I think one of the things that I'm super passionate about, and this is because of getting to know the people at PUP and just spending more time with people with special abilities, is that we as a society need to learn how to be more comfortable with, around people that aren't 100% like us, and how to take initiative to communicate with them. And I think as a society in general, we could all get better at that. So I think your presentation is going to be great for us, that I've decided, and to just educate us on that. But I think it would also be great in companies,
Sure.
Especially in companies where they do take that initiative to hire people that have some disabilities, and it's a part of their structure, to help other employees, right?
Yeah.
Bring awareness, and that's, I think, a good place too.
Yeah, one of my speeches that I actually give off for keynote speeches is, it's called it's not you or me, it's us. And it kind of breaks down barriers And again, it's not like, oh, people with disabilities are over here and people with
Right.
abilities are over there. It's like we're all meant to team up. Like Kim said earlier, we all have weaknesses and strengths, and we're put on here to team up and work together. And that's how we produce the best product and have the greatest impact.
Yeah. And I think that's why I think I got the term special abilities from Laura Sniff, who owns Picket Fence.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Out in Chillicothe, because I know it's kind of the political correct term, the disability, but I don't ever feel good about that, because I'm always like, we all have that. Everyone, now that I've spent time with Kurt and he's kind of opened my eyes to see, I'm like, I know it's a way to say special needs or whatever. So I like saying special abilities, because that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I love when I heard Laura say that, I'm like, oh, I love that, because we all have, that's something that's across the board.
For sure.
Everybody has a special ability. And so what's your special ability, right? And what's my special ability?
Yeah, I think that's a great punctuation point on this. Not for my part of the conversation is just asking you to think and maybe reframe what is your special ability, and what is something you can do with that special ability for the good of others even today.
Yeah. And your special ability, and you recognize this, is that you have an opportunity to encourage other people, right, who have similar special abilities as you, and to let them know that, life can be great. You can be successful. You can accomplish the things that you want. And there's things that you can focus on that you're good at, and not focus on the things that you're not good at.
Well, yeah. And that brings to mind, there's a story I share in the book. It took me 3 years to write the letters an X and a T. But somehow I went from having lots of challenges to graduating with a journalism degree from the University of Illinois, and then having a 12-year career in sports media, and then writing my own first book, I'm Possible. So the point in saying that is, I just want to encourage you that where you start, even today, if you're trying to move forward today, where you start doesn't have to be where you finish.
Wow. 3 years to be able to
write the letters in X and a T.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. But you stuck with it, and look where you are today.
That's right.
And so, come on. That in itself is amazing story. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of one of my friends, Stephen Corey, too.
Oh, yeah.
And I know he's awesome. He spoke at one of our conferences as well. And what he's accomplished in his life is amazing. And I think he said it took him, I can't remember, but 3 years to learn how to put on his own. It was a long time. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it was 2 or 3 years as well to learn how to either tie a shoe or put on his own shoes. And he tells a story about how his sister would just patiently wait on him while he would just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. I don't know.
Now he's got a law degree, and who knows whatever big stuff he's doing. So again, like LeVar Burton would say, don't take my word for it. Just Steve Corey is amazing. And again, where you start, even if it's today, if you're like, I'm going to start this today, that's not an indicator of where you have to end up.
Yeah. That's amazing. So don't be, it can take a long time to get done what you want to do.
Absolutely.
But you got it done.
Yep.
You got it done. Yep. That's so cool. All right. Well, Sam, thank you so much for having this conversation with me today about the word choice.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you for agreeing to speak at our fall seminar coming up September 22nd.
I can't wait.
I know it's going to be great. Our members are going to love it. And thank you guys for tuning in wherever you are. If you're watching us via video, great. Hello. Maybe you're listening to a podcast from a whole nother state or another part of the country. That's awesome too. And just remember that you can join us virtual from wherever you are, for all of our conferences, our seminars, our workshops. And so it doesn't matter where you are, you can be a member of I've Decided. And we would love for you to join our community so that we can help you achieve your goals and dreams. And you can do that at ivedecided.org. Thank you so much again, Sam.
My pleasure.
Give them your website one more time.
Dreaming Made Simple. So I'll just explain that if people are like, where's Dreaming Made Simple from? DreamingMadeSimple.com. It's because I hear a lot of people like Kim's talking about, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to do that, but I can never do that. And so my heart is to bring practical steps and tools to create an action plan for you to move forward with what matters to you.
That's awesome. I love it. Isn't he great? Okay. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sam.